Hello and welcome to another video. So today we are talking fire steels. What are these? So these are called a number of different things. You have fire flash, ferrocerium rod, because that's the compound that's used, and some people do incorrectly call them flint and steels. Now if you're not hitting something with a rock, it ain't flint and steel. So what we have here is we have a rod and then we have a striker, and what we do is we shave bits of the rod off and create a whole lot of friction, which then ignites. You can see we can create sparks. I really like this as a method of fire lighting because one of these will last for well over 1,000 strikes. You can drop it in a bucket of water, pull it out, and it's just fine. Won't run out of fuel, won't break like a match, waterproof, durable. I'd say it's the ideal fire steel. So we're going to have a look at some fire steel techniques that you can use with one of these. So keep watching. So the standard technique that I teach everyone that I work with start off with is very simple. First of all, you're going to aim to get a 45 degree on your striker. So if I bring this up over here, wait for it to adjust, there we go. So what I'm going to try and do is aim for a 45 degree lean. So if straight up is 90, flat is 0, we're going to go halfway. They'll allow the edge, the bottom edge there, the one that's got a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of bite to it, to scrape along and create a spark. Then we're going to take our fire steel over to our tinder there, go for a 45 degree angle, and we're just going to push straight down. So you can see, you just scrape. The more pressure and the more speed you add, the bigger the sparks. So very simple and pretty effective. So I've just got cattail fluff here. It tends to go up a bit like flash tinder, just for demonstration purposes. Now, this is a pretty good technique to start off with. I mean, it keeps the rod in one place, it's supported at both ends, and that means you only really have to worry about one hand and one striker as you're moving. It's simple to teach, and as I said, it's effective. Problem comes when you have something that has very fine fibers or is more powdery. So we're thinking things like the shavings from birch bark, or tinders like fatwood, where you're going to be scraping it into a small pile, or even just a delicately placed bundle of reed mace or something similar. As you can see, if I was to rest it over there, as I come down, I just end up, more often than not, blasting the scrapings of the powder everywhere. So there are 3 techniques that I use that overcome this problem, and we'll get straight into those right now. So here I have an example of exactly what we don't want to disturb. So I've got some scrapings of birch bark, which I've just scraped into the center there, into a nice neat pile. This concentrates all of the fibers, and we can then light that. But if I was to come down, if I didn't light it first try, or even if I did, chances are I've knocked my neat pile all over the place. Now, the other technique that a lot of people will use is, instead of moving the striker, they will move the fire steel, moving the rod instead. So they'll pull back on the rod, holding the striker in place. A problem with teaching that often is that people subconsciously create an equal and opposite reaction. So as they pull back, they'll also tend to push forward with the striker. The way to eliminate that is to create a little bit of a knuckle. Rest your fingers, create a finger rest right next to your tinder, and that way when you pull back you can drop sparks straight down. Depending on, you might need to get closer. There we go. It goes. So that technique, as you saw, does have some downsides. It was a real struggle to get the sparks to land on the tinder itself. It lacked in accuracy. It got there in the end, but the other way, you can take a look at it, is moving both together in small controlled movements. So what we're going to do is we'll go rest, go hold our fire steel a lot further along, and we'd go put up thumb on the fire steel, then pick it up, and then we're going to move the striker on top. So we have the two thumbs overlapped. So we're picking up. So again, you've got your thumb pointing almost at the end of the rod. There you go, pick it up, pop the striker underneath, and then you can move your fingers apart almost like a scissor motion. Okay, that. And it's all a matter of getting the angle right. You create very hot sparks with very little movement. And then we can take our previously prepared there. We can rest the back of our hands against the edge of the fireball there, if you want. Looking for a scissor motion. We did knock it a bit there. There's no technique that is completely exempt from clumsy people. There we go. See, I'm not going to edit out all of those takes. This is realistic. This is what you can sometimes expect. So there you go. So that's the second technique, using very small and controlled movements. So for the final technique, we're going to flip the fire steel striker on its head. We're going to turn it over, and we're essentially going to use it upside down. This is really good, I find, with fine tinders. So here I've got some fat wood, and we're just going to divide it. So we want most of the curls and fibers on the side away from you. Then you go tilt the striker towards you, the top of the striker towards you, and then we're just going to lay the rod on top. We go press down firmly with your thumb, and just go pull back. Can take a little while to get the angle right. Got smoke. And we've got flame. Yeah, and there it goes. So our fat wood is going up quite quickly. This is why fat wood is a fantastic tinder. It just goes up like anything. It's a bit harder to find than birch bark, but once you find it, beautiful. For those of you who don't know, fat wood is the resin-soaked branches of pine trees. You usually find them where the pine tree has broken off closer to the trunk, and the branch has broken off from the pine tree close to the branch, close to the trunk of the tree, and the tree has then sealed the wound with resin, and that makes a beautiful tinder. So there you go, 4 different techniques for using the firesteel. To say there is no one technique I use 100% of the time. I tend to change it up based on circumstances, and typically I think about what is the likelihood of success, how good is the tinder. I mean, if I'm using it like something like cotton wool, just man-made fibre that's kept nice and dry in my rucksack, I'll just go with anything. If it's a small cluster of fat wood that I've gathered laboriously in the pouring rain for 3 to 4 hours, I'm going to be a little bit more careful with it. So it all depends on your situation, but I'd recommend you have a play with these, see how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, make the most of every day.